Devastating flooding continues to hammer multiple regions of China, with the aftermath of Typhoon Bavi triggering some of the most alarming flash flood scenes captured this year. In Hebei Province, water levels soared past 2 meters on roads in Guangcheng County, a community of around 240,000 people situated along the banks of the Loguan River. Dashcam and social media footage showed several vehicles colliding with one another as they were tossed and swept away by the sheer force of the current. Around 1,800 villagers in Guangcheng found themselves trapped as the water rose with little warning, compelling authorities to prioritize emergency relocation and resettlement operations across the county. The scale of the catastrophe stretches far beyond Hebei alone. Typhoon Bavi, described as the most ferocious storm to strike mainland China so far this year, made a rare double landfall along the Zhejiang coast with sustained winds near 90 miles per hour, before its enormous circulation pulled tropical moisture hundreds of miles inland and north. That moisture eventually collided with cooler air systems over Beijing and Hebei, unleashing torrential rain across an already saturated landscape. In Tangshan, northern Hebei, meteorological authorities issued their most critical rain warnings after some locations recorded more than 4 inches of rainfall in a short window, an intensity sufficient to trigger flash flooding and landslides across the region's mountainous terrain. Residents in communities like Yangqiao on Beijing's eastern edge described roads flooding to the height of car windows well before midday, catching many commuters completely off guard. To the northeast, Liaoning Province has been struck just as hard. Authorities there elevated a red alert for flash floods, the highest tier of warning in China's system, citing very high risk to life and property. Under a red alert, all work stoppages, business closures and public gatherings must be strictly enforced until conditions improve. In Shenyang, Liaoning's capital, remarkable footage circulated online showing a person swimming backstroke straight down a flooded city street, gliding past rows of parked cars that were almost entirely submerged, with only their rooftops visible above the waterline. Elsewhere in the city, residents utilised paddleboards and improvised rafts to navigate through flooded neighbourhoods, turning ordinary streets into makeshift waterways. China's Ministry of Water Resources reported that 46 rivers nationwide are currently flowing above their warning levels, a clear indication of just how widespread the pressure on the country's flood control infrastructure has become. Authorities have cautioned that the storm system would continue to pour heavy rain across Jilin, Liaoning, Hebei, Shandong, Jiangsu and Anhui provinces, all of which had already been drenched by earlier waves of downpours this summer. Whoa. That compounding effect, one heavy rain event landing on top of ground and rivers that never had time to recover from the previous one, is a major reason officials are treating this round of flooding with such urgency. Meanwhile, in southwestern China, Sichuan Province has faced its own series of dangerous weather events in recent weeks. In Danba County, a sudden and intense downpour triggered a severe landslide that tore through a residential area. Local meteorological offices had monitored the danger closely in the hours beforehand, issuing a blue rain warning that was swiftly upgraded, first to orange and then to red, within just a few hours as rainfall intensity escalated. That escalating warning system gave officials roughly a 1-hour window to evacuate residents before the mudslide struck. And all 179 households in the affected town, over 400 people, were moved to safety just in time. In Pengzhou, near Chengdu, 3 consecutive days of relentless rain dropped nearly 390 millimeters of rainfall on the Longmen town area alone, prompting the evacuation of more than 1,600 people from high-risk zones after a red rainstorm warning was issued. Further south in Sichuan, the city of Luzhou saw the Yangtze River reach its first major flood peak of the season, with water levels climbing to 8.55 meters, high enough to trigger safety warnings for river traffic and shipping companies operating along that stretch of the river. In Yibin, Xinwen County experienced an intense overnight rainfall event that impacted all 12 townships in the county, compelling local flood control authorities to activate an emergency response and mobilize rescue teams to reach residents cut off by rising water. For now, emergency crews across Hebei, Liaoning and Sichuan remain concentrated on search and rescue operations, clearing debris from waterlogged roads and reinstating power to communities that lost electricity during the flooding. Authorities have indicated that relocation and resettlement of affected residents will remain the top priority in the hardest-hit counties, as water levels are closely monitored in the days ahead, with more rain still anticipated to move through the region.